Good day po sa ating lahat, no? At halina kayo at sama-sama tayo matuto sa presentasyong ito. Kami mula sa EE3B na pinamumunuan ni Engineer Marvin Bartolome. At gusto ko lang ipakilala ang aking mga kagrupo. Mula sa Hipster na si Chris Jerden Gabriel at si John Paul Gabanit. Mula sa aming Hustler na si John Jexter Natividad at si John Fitzgerald Cornico. At mula sa mga hacker, ako na si Lawrence Dave de Guzman, si Gio Di Mapawi, at si Rosemin San Jose. Halina kayo at sama-sama nating tunghayan itong presentasyong ito.
First is technology. Technology is basically using knowledge, tools, or techniques to solve problems or make life easier. Example, your smartphone is technology. It combines hardware like the screen and battery and software like apps na nakakatulong sa'yo makipag-communicate, mag-aral, at maglibang. So, technology forms our daily reality is the basis for the tools and system we use every day.
Next, innovation. An innovation is creating something completely new that didn't exist before. Hindi lang siya simpleng improvement ng old idea, kundi first time na mayroong nakaisip at nakagawa nito. For us to better understand what invention really is, think about when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. It was something the world had never seen before. Today, that invention powers everything from lamps in our homes to flashlights on our phones. In short, invention is about creating the first version of something that is useful. Last but not the least, innovation. Innovation is when you take an existing idea or invention and improve it to make it better, faster, or more useful. Example, smartphones are an innovation. The telephone already existed, but companies like Apple and Samsung improved it, adding cameras, internet access, and apps, making it way more powerful than just a regular phone. Sa madaling salita, innovation is about making things better.
Hi everyone, today we're talking about three important words in technopreneurship: technology, invention, and innovation. These three are connected, and understanding them help us see how great ideas are turned into successful businesses. Let's keep it simple and easy to understand. Here's how they are all connected. Technology gives us tools and knowledge. Innovation creates something new using that technology. Innovation improves it and turns it into something people will love and use. For example, think about Facebook. The internet made global connection possible. Social networking sites like Friendster were an invention. Facebook innovated by improving the idea, adding features, and making it user-friendly. And now, billions of people use it.
Why does this matter in technopreneurship? In technopreneurship, understanding these three is key. Entrepreneurs use technology to create invention and apply innovation to make them successful in the market. It's how small ideas become big business, like how food delivery apps turn a simple idea of ordering food into a global industry using smartphones in the internet.
So to sum it up, technology is the tools. Invention is to create something, and innovation is to make it better and useful. All three work together to drive technopreneurship, turning ideas into real solutions that change the world. Pain points and solution. Here's another version of the presentation script with Tagalog example for better relatability.
Pain points. Ano nga ba ang pain points? A pain point is a specific problem that prospective customers of your business are experiencing. So sa madaling salita, ito yung problema o hassle na nararanasan ng customers, at kapag tulungan mo silang ma-solve ito, mas tatangkilikin nila ang serbisyo at produkto mo. Bakit mahalaga ang pain points? Simple lang, kapag alam mo ang problema ng tao, makakagawa ka ng produkto na swak sa pangangailangan nila. Halimbawa, food delivery apps tulad ng GrabFood o Foodpanda. Halimbawa, ikaw, nagugutom ka, pero traffic at wala kang oras lumabas. Yun yung pain point. So, ang solution dito is yung paggamit ng food delivery platforms, dahil dito, diretso ang order mo sa bahay mo. Kaya rin patok ang mga ito dahil nakuha nila ang totoong problema ng tao.
Ngayon, alam na natin ang pain points. Punta naman tayo sa kung saan karaniwang namamali or nalilito ang mga tao between solution and pain points. Isa sa karaniwang pagkakamali sa business at marketing ay yung pag-akalang solution na yung pain points. Siguro masasabi nyo, ha? Anong ibig sabihin nito? Ano nga bang ibig sabihin nito? Well, ganito kasi yan. Minsan, iniisip natin na alam na natin yung problema ng customers. Pero ang totoo pala, yung solution natin ay para sa product at business lang natin. Dahil sa pag-jump natin sa conclusion na ito, hindi natin naiintindihan ang pinagmumulan ng problema. So, bibigyan ko kayo example. Isa kang beginner sa pagbibusiness. Nagtayo ka ng isang simple at dissenting milk tea shop. Then, para makaakit ng customer, naisip mo na magpa-buy one take one promo. Pero nakalipas ang 1 linggo, hindi pa rin nadadagdagan ng customer mo. So, ang pain points pala ay ang tagal ng pila at ang init pa habang nag-aantay. Dahil dito, kahit may promo ka ng buy one take one, ay wala pa rin nagtsatsagang pumila ng matagal dahil sa init. So, anong lesson dito? Dapat pala kasi, huwag nating ilimit yung focus natin sa product at business lang natin. Isipin din natin kung anong service ba ang need na customer para makapag-formulate tayo ng matibay at effective na solution para sa kanila. Ngayon, paano naman natin malalaman kung ano ang pain points? Meron tayong 3 way para malaman natin ang pain points. Una, tanungin mismo ang customer. Pwede tayong mag-survey or makinig sa mga feedback para sa mga existing na products. Or pwede naman tayong mag-formulate ng simpleng tanong na, ano po ba ang dapat pang i-improve sa product na to? Pangalawa, tignan ang reklamo online. Dapat tignan natin ang mga reviews at hinaing online para ma-improve yung image ng business at mas makilala pa. And last, subukan mismo yung product. Kailangan natin i-test yung product na gusto nating i-release para expected na natin ang mga possible feedback at ma-improve or mabawasan natin ang error sa product. So, balik tayo sa example natin kanina sa milk tea shop. Ngayon, alam mo na kaya pala hindi nadadagdagan yung customer mo kasi ang tagal at mainit sa pila. Kaya naman, ang ginawa mo ngayon ay nagalo ka ng online ordering para hassle-free, para hindi nalalabas ang mga customer at para hindi na sila pumila. And ngayon, baka tanungin nyo sa akin kung importante ba lahat ng mga sinasabi ko. So, swerte tayo kasi andito ang pogi nating kaibigan para ipaliwanag yan.
So to sum up, ang pain point ay problema ng customer. Dapat alam mo muna ang problema bago ka magbigay ng solusyon. Kung gusto mong maging matagumpay sa business, tumuto ka sa talagang kailangan ng tao.
Before we begin, let's discuss first the topic that might affect in building a successful business. The customer is the person who pays the price and purchase the goods or service of a certain producer or a business. The end user is the person who consumes or use the goods or the services. So technically, yung customer ay hindi palaging end user dahil maaaring binili nila ito, yung produkto o serbisyo, o pagkatapos ibibigay ito sa isang tao na nagiging end user ng produktong iyon. Example, yung produkto na diaper, binili ito ng mga parents while the one using or the one who consumes the diaper is the child or the babies. Stakeholder, a party that has an interest in a company and can either affect or be affected by the business. Under the stakeholders, we have 2. First, the internal stakeholders, which includes the employees, manager, and the owner. Secondly, the external stakeholders, which includes society, government, creditor, and shareholders. We also have the influencer, pertains to someone who has the power to affect the purchasing decision or others because of authority, knowledge, or relationship with their audience.
Ano ba ang customer segmentation? So in simple terms, yung customer segmentation is about identifying and grouping our customers base sa kanilang mga pangangailangan or needs and behavior or characteristics. So if itatanong mo, mahalaga ba ito? At nagmamatter ba ito? So the answer is yes. Mahalaga ito dahil hindi naman lahat ng customers ay pare-pareho. And also, we know that different groups requires different approaches in understanding which segment we are targeting that shapes our product and services. And to answer the question if it matters, well, yes, it matters because it saves money, time, and effort while giving customers exactly what they need. Under customer segments, there are 5 types that you will encounter in business. So this includes mass market, niche market, segmented, diversified, and multi-sided platforms. So let's go through each one with real-world example so you can see how they work in practice.
Una ay mass market. These segments trace the markets as one large group with broadly similar needs. Think of products or services with universal appeal. So dito sa mass market, hindi mo kailangan mag-focus sa specific na grupo kasi halos lahat pwedeng gumamit ng produkto mo. Ang goal dito ay reach as many people as possible. Usually, ginagamit ito ng mga big brands na gusto ng volume sales tulad ng sabon, soft drinks o bigas. Essential sa lahat, kaya mas malaki ang kita kapag mass appeal. So, kailan ito ginagamit? Kung ang produkto mo ay bagay para sa nakararami at hindi kailangan ng customization. So, next naman natin ay niche market. Targeting a very specific group with unique needs. So, dito sa niche market ay quality over quantity ang approach. Hindi mo target ng lahat, kundi yung small group na may specific needs lamang. Ano ang advantage nito? Mas loyal ang customers kasi pakiramdam nila ginagawa talaga para sa kanila ang produkto. Ano na may downside? Mas maliit ang market size pero pwede kang mag-change ng higher price kaya profitable pa rin.
Next is the segmented market. Ang segmented market ay paraan ng paghahati-hati ng malaking grupo ng tao ayon sa pagkakapareho ng kanilang needs, gusto o lifestyle. Dahil mayroon tayong kanya-kanyang preference. Halimbawa, isipin mo, gusto mo magtayo ng ice cream shop. Imbis na i-offer mo lang ang iisang flavor sa lahat, hinahati-hati mo ang iyong customers. Tulad ng mga kids o mga bata, gusto nila matamis at maraming sprinkles. Para naman sa mga teens, gusto nila yung unique at Instagrammable. Para sa mga adults, simpleng flavor lang tulad ng chocolate o vanilla. Para naman sa mga seniors, mas okay sa kanila yung less sugar. Sa ganitong paraan, mas nagiging effective ang magiging business mo kasi natutugunan mo yung specific needs ng bawat grupo. Ang diversified market naman ay kapag ang isang business ay nagsisilbi sa iba't ibang klase ng customers na may magkakaibang needs o interests, kahit na hiwalay o unrelated sila. Halimbawa, isipin mo, yung isang malaking mall, may groceries para sa families, may fashion store para sa teens at young adults, may appliance center para sa parents, may playground o arcade para sa kids. Ibig sabihin, isang business pero maraming klase ng market ang pinagsisilbihan niya at hindi lang iisa o isang grupo.
Finally, we have the multi-sided platforms, businesses that serves 2 or more interdependent customer groups. For example, Lazada o Shopee. May mga seller na gusto magbenta ng kanilang produkto. May mga buyer din na gustong bumili. Ang platform ay ang tulay sa kanilang dalawa. Kailan ito ginagamit? Kapag ang negosyo mo ay gumaganap bilang connector, gaya ng mga ride-hailing apps, gaya ng Grab, driver, at pasahero.
So in conclusion, bringing it all together. So to wrap up, mass market targets everyone. Niche market focuses on a very specific group. Segmented market serves variation of the same audience. Diversified market handles unrelated customer bases. Multi-sided platforms link multiple dependent groups. So bakit nga ba importante ito? Kasi kung alam mo kung sino talaga ang target mo, mas maayos mong magagawa ang product, pricing, at marketing strategy. Kung malinaw ang target mo, mas mataas ang chance na maging successful ang business mo kaysa mag-try ka lang na ibenta sa lahat ng walang plano.
Ngayon, ang pag-uusapan naman natin ay about market segment. But don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Market segmentation is just a way businesses divide their customers into a smaller group so they can understand them better and give them what they really want. Isipin mo na lang na gumagawa ka ng playlist. meron kang playlist na swak habang nagre-review, meron ding playlist na nakaka-boost ng energy habang nagwo-workout, at syempre, meron ding playlist na pasok sa mood habang nagre-relax. Businesses do the same with customers. There are 4 main types of market segmentation. Una, demographic. Meron din tayong psychographic, behavioral, and geographic. Let's break each one by one with easy examples.
First, demographic segmentation. This is when the business group of people based on facts like age, gender, income, education, or job. For example, the Lego. Diba isa itong toy company? So si Lego ay gumawa ng set of toys for kids at also meron ding set for adults. So si Lego ay nagmarket ng set of toys depending on customer's age. Kasi it's all about who the customer is. Second, psychographic segmentation. This looks people's lifestyle, interests, and personalities. Example, si Nike. Si Nike ay hindi lang basta nagbebenta ng sapatos. Target din nila ang mga taong binavalue ang fitness, sports, and motivation. Their ads often inspire you to just do it, appealing to that active-driven mindset. So this one's about what the customers care about.
Now, behavioral segmentation. This is when businesses look at how customers behave. Things like buying habits, product usage, or brand loyalty. Gaya ng buying habits, gaano kadalas silang gamitin ang produkto o kung loyal ba sila sa brand. So, halimbawa nito sa Spotify, kung mahilig ka sa OPM love songs, mapapansin nila yan at gagawa ka ng playlist na swak sa trip mo. So, in short, nakabase ito sa actual na ginagawa ng customer, hindi lang sa kung sino sila.
Lastly, geographic segmentation. So this is when business group customer is nagbe-base kung saan sila naninirahan, kung anong bansa or city or community ang kanilang kinabibilangan. One example is the company of McDonald's. So halimbawa, si McDonald's is nagbago ng menu around the world. So sa isang bansa like India for instance, you will find veggie burgers dahil marami sa naninirahan dito ay prefer ang vegetarian options. So we can say na geographic segmentation, from its word geographic, it is all about where the customer is. To sum up, market segments has 4 types. That includes demographic segments, which pertains to who the customer is, psychographic segments, which pertains to what the customers care about, behavioral segments, that pertains to what the customers do, and lastly, the geographic segments that pertains to where the customers are. Before we proceed to value preposition, so let me ask you a question. Kapag ba kayo bumibili ng certain products or services, have you ever asked yourself, bakit ko bibilin to? Or, anong makukuha ko dito? Actually, this question is basically what a value preposition answers. So just to share a bit of history, the term value preposition started becoming popular in 1980s in the field of marketing. Businesses realized that to attract customers, they need to clearly show the value of what they are offering. So why customers should choose them over the others. So in short, a value preposition is a promise of value. It tells customers what they'll get and why it is worth it.
What is a value proposition? In simple terms, a value proposition is what makes a product or service valuable to customers. So, meaning to say, ito yung main reason kung bakit sila ang dapat piliin instead of someone else. So, for example, Netflix. Sa Netflix, pwede kang makanood ng movie kahit nasa bahay ka lang, kung saan mahanap mo yung comfort at privacy na gusto mo.
Now, a value proposition can have 2 types of benefits, tangible and intangible. So, sa tangible benefits, things you can see, touch, or measure. So, halimbawa nito, Shopee free shipping. Mas makakatipid ka sa delivery fee. Yes, tama ang narinig mo. Mas makakatipid ka at ang measurable benefit naman nito ay nakasave ka ng pera. So, in intangible benefits, emotional or psychological benefits. So, halimbawa sa Starbucks, not just a coffee, but a place to relax and feel special. So, sa makatuwid, hindi lang kape, kundi tambayan na sosyal at comfy. So in general, tangible is equal to practical gains, while intangible naman is equal to feelings or experiences.
Why does it matter? A strong value proposition helps businesses stand out. For example, may dalawang milk tea shop, si Shop A at si Shop B. Sabi ni Shop A, buy our milk tea. Sabi naman ni Shop B, creamy milk tea delivered in 15 minutes, kahit hindi ka lumabas ng bahay. So, sino ang pipiliin mo sa dalawa? Probably si Shop B, diba? Kasi malinaw niyang naipakita ang value, convenience at quality ng milk tea niya.
To wrap it up, value proposition is what makes customer choose you. It can include tangible benefits like saving money and intangible benefits like feeling special. The clearer and more relatable it is, the more the customer will connect with your brand. Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig at dito na po natatapos ang aming presentasyon. Sana po ay marami kayong naunawaan at natutunan mula sa aming presentasyon. At sana rin po naunawaan nyo lahat ng aming itinuro at sinambit. Yun lamang po, maraming salamat.